There's no substitute for having an Assistant Secretary of State costing us. So for all my friends who love to wave the flag of how important
30 years of progress in Russia has been wiped out in just 12 days. This is a war launched by one man for his own twisted reasons. It's a war built on lies he's told the world, he's told his own people, and his military. And now it is a war also built on the suffering and grief of so many Ukrainians, and also Russians, parents, spouses, partners, children, who will never see their loved ones again, all because of one man's evil choices.
Closed discussion on the issues. I think probably you were impressed, as I was.
We continue to provide defensive lethal security assistance to Ukraine. Just 10 days ago, President Biden and Secretary Blinken authorized the immediate delivery of an additional $350 million of military support, and I'm pleased to say that 2/3 of that has already gotten into Ukraine. And in total, the administration has provided more than $1 billion in security assistance in just this last year. We are providing urgently needed humanitarian assistance to Ukraine and its neighbors. Working with the government of Ukraine, UN agencies, humanitarian organizations, and European partners, the United States is providing food, medicine, hygiene supplies, healthcare and protection services, shelter support, and other assistance. Backfill in their own security needs. So I look forward when this hearing is over. Last week, Secretary Blinken announced an additional $54 million in U.S. assistance, and countries around the world have met the UN's humanitarian appeal with an additional $1.5 billion in support.
UNHCR, as well as, of course, USAID and some other.
We've imposed severe sanctions on Russia's financial institutions, its oligarchs and political leaders, including President Putin and his cronies. We have levied export controls on key industries and the Russian military in close coordination with almost 40 countries around the world, representing over half the world's economy, and those sanctions have had an immediate impact. Third, we've imposed severe sanctions on Russia's financial. We're seeing a continued flight of capital, a tumbling of the ruble, it's lost half its value, rising inflation, higher borrowing costs, and evaporating access for Russia to global financial markets. There is more on the way from the G7, our EU partners, and countries around the world if President Putin does not end this vicious war.
Look, this thing's been dragging on. I know that.
U.S. military personnel in Europe and in its waters now total approximately 100,000. We've more than doubled our U.S. forces in Poland and sent thousands of troops to the Baltics, to Romania, and elsewhere along the flank, along with advanced combat aviation. A number of our allies are also starting to flow forces to NATO's east to bolster their presence and to fulfill their NATO obligations. So the message to Russia is clear. NATO is united, and our commitment to Article 5 is ironclad.
with that, seeing no other member seeking recognition, this business.
President Putin has not only attacked Ukraine, he has trashed the UN principle of self-determination of states and questioned Ukraine's very right to exist. He is testing the foundations of international law, and he is testing all of us, and NATO, and the EU, and the G7, and democracies around the world. As President Biden said, we are now in a battle between democracy and autocracy, and free people, free nations, and a free Ukraine must prevail.
Only beyond Europe's borders, but globally. Today I'm calling on the